Okay, for this freezer meal, we're gonna do kind of like a chicken noodle casserole. So we have 2 chicken breasts, some frozen veggies. I like the frozen veggies, so like peas and carrots more, but this is what we have, so I'll just use the peas. A can of cream of mushroom soup and cream of chicken soup. Calls for chicken broth, but I'll use the better than bouillon for that. The last of my egg noodles, and then some shredded cheese. And it also calls for breadcrumbs, but I don't like that, so I'm gonna leave it off and just use these ingredients.
Hello everyone, welcome to Life of the Troxels. Today I have 4 freezer meal recipes I'm going to share with you, plus a 5th recipe that's actually a dessert. So I made these in prep for baby number 3 as well as baby number 4 who just arrived in April. And these have really come in handy during that postpartum period and wanted to share them in case you're in the same walk of life right now. And if you are, I'm so glad that you're here. I share videos about mom life, mom of 4, and family favorite recipes, grocery hauls, and just life as a working mom. So I hope that you enjoy this video, and let's get into it. So this first recipe is a chicken noodle casserole. So it's kind of like chicken noodle soup ingredients, but just in a casserole form. And honestly, I was the only one who ended up eating this. My kids didn't love it, and then it's not gluten free, so Eric couldn't have any. But it was perfect thing for some lunches if we had a meal that maybe didn't have enough leftovers for lunch the next day. I was able to have this and have a nice home cooked meal for lunches. And then I always, when I prep it to go into the freezer, do 2 layers of saran wrap and then foil, and then another layer of saran wrap and foil, which kind of helps seal it in, since I'm not using the actual plastic lid that comes with these aluminum pans. And then write the instructions on it so I don't have to dig up the recipe when it's time to actually cook it.
So here are all the ingredients for the chicken tetrazzini I'm going to make. So I have my chicken breast here. I'm gonna shred these up. Some angel hair pasta. I like regular spaghetti more, but angel hair will do. We do a can of cream of mushroom and cream of chicken, as well as the bouillon cubes for the chicken stock, some spices, garlic powder, salt and pepper, some shredded mozzarella, some shredded Parmesan, some sour cream. It calls for dry sherry wine, which I don't have, but I do have Marsala wine, so we're gonna figure that works fine. And then I'm also, these mushrooms are kind of going bad, so I'm gonna get a little crazy. I'm gonna add some mushrooms and some onion as well.
So I'm definitely known for altering a recipe to work with the ingredients that I have. If I don't have exactly what I need, I kind of make it up as I go, which might not be the smartest thing, but it's worked out for me so far. And for this like chicken tetrazzini, kind of like chicken spaghetti recipe, it definitely was a lot more prep than the previous chicken recipe, where you have to cube up the chicken, you have to cut up all the mushrooms and the onions and everything. So there was definitely a lot more prep that went into it, as well as it took a while to get this spaghetti. Once I had cooked it, it kind of congealed a little bit. This was a good one. Not one of my favorites, but definitely a nice way to kind of use up the ingredients that I had. And I don't know why all chicken freezer recipes use cream of chicken soup and cream of mushroom soup. These 2 did. I promise not all the recipes do use that. I know it's a little more processed, but that's part of the ease and simplicity, is using those prepackaged ingredients. So ingredients for number 3, we have ground beef, ground sausage, shredded cheese, tomato sauce, ricotta, parmesan, as well as some gluten-free noodles this time. And this recipe was a little bit of a fail because I tried to make 2 at once, and then the noodles, because they were gluten-free, were very flimsy and breaking apart. So I made 1 batch with cooked noodles and 1 batch with uncooked noodles. And then doubling the recipe is one of my favorite things to do to ensure you have, either 2 in your freezer, or what I did is I had 1 for dinner that night and then I put 1 into the freezer for another night, and it kind of saves time doing both preps at once. But then we do stuff like fill up the entire bowl and make it almost impossible to stir it all. And I was feeling really good and prepared despite having to struggle with stirring everything in the bowl. But you can kind of see is when I start to notice that the noodles aren't working out that well and the filling is hard to stir in the bowl. And then we had both ground beef and ground sausage, which makes it taste delicious, but it was almost too much meat. I don't think we needed a full pound of each. Wasn't my favorite outcome, but even when it comes out as like a B- meal, that's better than having to make this from scratch when you're postpartum. And when you have kids running around, it's nice to have a B- meal rather than running out for takeout. Some sausage and some ground beef, and we're going to add both of those to the lasagna so it's nice and hearty. But I'm going to move these noodles over here and do this one with uncooked noodles. So I am an imperfect person, and this process is not completely hammered out. I just kind of figure it out as I go, I guess. So it's a little messy and we switched gears halfway through, but it ended up working out. The lasagna on the left we had for dinner that night was so tasty, even if it wasn't the prettiest thing out there. And it is really nice to have the other one in the freezer and know that you have a meal whenever times get tight. You can cook it both straight from frozen or let it defrost, and then it cooks a little bit faster if it's already defrosted. So like I said, I do kind of wing it as I go, and using the gluten-free noodles was definitely different than my usual lasagna recipe, but it ended up turning out okay. And I do have some other videos that share some of our family's favorite recipes. I have one that's all chicken recipes and one that's all ground beef recipes and freezer meals, meal prep, family friendly meals. And so I will link those videos down below so you can check them out next. And they're very much like this, where it's real life, real kitchen. We have a kitchen straight from the 90s that I cook in, but it works for our family of, now we are a family of 6. And this is just real life what my family eats on a weekly basis. No frills, nothing fancy, but just delicious home cooking. So for the next freezer meal I'm going to do is going to be my cauliflower rice casserole. And so I'm going to do 2 of them. So I got 2 bags of the frozen cauliflower. Oh no, it's not the cauliflower rice. I'm going to have to chop this up. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, well, I'll have to cook that and chop that up. I'll use 2 pounds of the ground beef. Got a bunch of shredded cheese. These are the pans that I'll put them in. Half an onion, probably about half this bag of spinach, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of sour cream. You also mix in like some seasoning, some milk and stuff like that right at the end. And I'll show you when I'm assembling them all together. Talk about this tool. A unit tool. I was very against it because all it does is break up the ground beef.
I'm still kind of against it because you can't scoop it, so you still have an extra thing to throw into the dishes. Still need a spoon to scoop it from, but it definitely breaks it up evenly.
Every time I watch this footage back, it's like, why does half a bag of spinach end up as like 6 leaves? I swear, you put so much in, and by the time you actually mix it in, it's like completely evaporated. It's so funny. So I put the cauliflower, after I cooked the frozen cauliflower, put it in this little like hand food processor and chopped it all up. So ideally I already buy it already broken up. It's an extra step, extra dish that I have to clean. Not the end of the world. So again, the cauliflower that wasn't riced was a little bit of a fail and required a little bit more prep than usual, but not a big deal. I just used that little food processor to mix it up. Told you, I just kind of wing it as I go. And this is one of me and my husband's favorite recipes. It is so good every time. I think it's impossible to mess it up. And you can get maybe like 4 meals out of each of these. So this is almost a week's worth of lunches and a dinner for your family. It is a go-to. I've made this recipe multiple times, sharing it in vlogs and other videos. So I'm going to make these lactation brownies, and I made them for my last couple pregnancies, and they're so delicious and have some good ingredients in it. So what I have here are some oatmeal, some flaxseed. I got 2 boxes of brownie mix. I'll probably only make 1 today. And then you need some coconut milk, some chocolate chips, some vanilla, and some oil. And then I'll add in the eggs. And then I don't have the brewer's yeast or the collagen. I had some collagen, but I can't find it right now. But that's okay. I'll just do it with these ingredients, and I can make a batch to put in the oven. And here's a little bonus recipe for a dessert. These are lactation brownies that, again, I have made with all 4 of my postpartum periods with my kids. I think they taste so good with the little extra ingredients. Adding in some vanilla to brownie mix is a genius idea. And they are a little bit heartier with like the oatmeal and the flaxseed and everything, but even my husband likes them. My kids like them too, and it's a great way to get that sweet tooth taken care of while also having the good ingredients if you're breastfeeding. Plus, they freeze really well. I cut them up and wrap them in foil and keep them in the freezer until I'm ready to eat. Pop them in the microwave for maybe 15 seconds, and you have a warm homemade brownie. Are you kidding me? So delicious, and definitely a good one to try. So that was a little bit chaotic, but I have to say that the effort to prepare, 5 or 6 meals to have in the freezer during postpartum just really takes the pressure off, knowing that you can feed your family and feed yourself from your freezer if you really want a home cooked meal. And these recipes were really easy and ones that we've tried before, but I definitely want to continue to double up recipes and try other ones that would freeze really well that I could use postpartum or just to do some meal prep for my family of 6. If you want to watch some postpartum videos, some mom of 4 videos, or some other recipe videos, then I hope that you subscribe and stick around for more Life of the Troxels. Thanks for watching.